Hello everyone, welcome to this session of Sema Na ADC. My name is Monicah Wambugu. I'm a product manager at Microsoft. Today we are talking about how organizations can become more cloud fast, and we are privileged to have our guest Peter joining us. Karibu.
Thank you.
Yes, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and about the organization that you work for?
Okay, my name is Peter Tipapa. I work for Janus Continental Group, a conglomerate that has business interests and market leaders in real estate, hospitality, energy, and conservation. In Kenya, I would say we are known for the Hub Karen and Mount Kenya Safari Club.
Oh, that's awesome. So the conversation today is around being more cloud fast, which basically means reducing your reliance on on-prem AD and actually focusing more on the cloud, such as using things like Microsoft Entra AD. So I think JCG as an organization is actually 100% cloud, which is not a typical thing. A lot of organizations are able to minimize their footprint on AD, but not really eliminate it. So I think my first question to you is, what were the business goals that drove you towards embarking on a journey to be more cloud fast?
Thank you again. That's a very good question. So as a group, we are spread across, of course, the African region, and we have multiple locations. So the challenge we had was that we had to have physical infrastructure in each and every one of those locations that needed to sync with the head office. So we had AD servers in every location that would open. So to open an office required us to have physical infrastructure put in place as we moved. Even if it was starting with a small number of people, then you'd have to put that capital investment. And that is what drove us to the cloud. Cloud brings with it specific things. It brings agility, which means then we are able to provision or to get to new locations with new users very easily. Then, of course, security. We needed to make sure that any settings that we are doing or any policies that we are doing for devices, users, and identity, we would make sure that they are propagated on a real time. In events where you had physical locations that needed to come in, a person, if you deployed a policy, for example, something like backgrounds or something like that, someone needed to come to the office in order for that to be propagated. With cloud, we felt that would make it very easy. Additionally, it became a full-time job, because if one of the ADs is out and you're not syncing, then those people are left in an island when you're propagating specific policies. So that was one of the key motivations, or the key motivation for us to move to the agility, to make sure that as an organization we are agile, scalability, so that we are able to scale, meaning that even if we had a person who was working remote from a specific location, we were sure that we would provision for that person very easily, and we would be able to deploy policies very easily to them.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
And how did you actually go about decommissioning those physical on-prem servers?
It was an 18-month project that encompassed a lot of, I would say, offboarding and onboarding. Because typically, what we thought when we were moving to Microsoft Azure, which is now called Entra, was that it would be a replica of AD, but it wasn't. So we got to know that in a very interesting way. So what we did is that we first moved to a hybrid environment where authentication was being done through Entra, and at the same time it was being done through the AD servers. So what we would do is we would move from location to location, decommissioning objects. That means any devices that we had, servers, computers, I would say endpoints and users, and moving them to Azure only, and to be able to at least move them to Azure on its own. So that took us quite a while as we moved, because we were on hybrid in several locations. And what we intended was, it was very intentional. We did not want to come and disrupt how people are working. If you had a specific desktop, if you had a specific policies that we had put in, we managed to pull in those policies, of course, using the Microsoft Intune, and then redeploy them to those computers.
Yeah, so it was more of a phased approach
Yes.
that ensured that you still had that continuity from a business perspective.
Absolutely. It was location-based, so because we would move to a location, make sure that everyone in that location has been successfully moved to Entra, and then now decommission that physical server and the sink. And now the advantage, of course, those users now would be able to do self-service password reset, something that you would not have done, and that took us a lot of time during that time.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing. And you mentioned a little bit about security at the beginning of this. And one of the reasons why people actually consider becoming more cloud first is security. So as an organization, what are kind of like the security measures that you have put in place to make sure that you're safeguarding your organization's assets?
Yes. So of course, security is a very important component, especially when you're moving to the cloud. What we made sure, or what we've made sure progressively, because security is a journey. Security is not a destination. So it's something that you work on as you move across. So what we made sure we did is that we used several products, including Defender, to ensure that we had a pulse of every identity and every endpoint and every server. And in doing that, we were able to get all data from all those components. I would say all those objects, the users, the endpoints, to Azure Sentinel, which is what we managed to implement. That helped us in very many ways and has continuously helped us in very many ways to understand our security posture based on the endpoints and identity. So any signals that are coming from those areas, I would say, like people traveling across borders, logins from remote locations within a duration that is not realistic, we get those alerts and we've put playbooks for that. And that was part of our journey towards zero trust. Multi-factor authentication being a component that was very important in that aspect. And of course, what I've just mentioned, deploying policies that would ensure security of any devices. If there are specific policies that we needed to deploy to specific devices, we would test them on a set of devices, and then that would be propagated across. It won't matter whether you are at home, whether you're in office. It just made sense for us, especially with the evolution of work from home. You are able to know that a specific device, whether it's a mobile device, whether it's an endpoint, whether it's a server, you are able to identify its security posture, also using something brilliant like Secure Score.
And so my last question is, how does the future look like for your organization when you look ahead?
All right. Now that we have, I would say, elastic infrastructure, meaning that we are spending as much as we are able, and we're able to expand very easily. We are looking at AI, which is a buzzword. Everyone is using it as a buzzword, but we are very intentional about utilizing AI. We are already utilizing, of course, AI in security, but we are looking to deploy a lot more of AI for business, because the most important thing about moving to the cloud is not about the technology, but about the impact to business, giving business agility and enabling business to expand and seamless. Because our concept is that technology should not be visible to the user. So even during that transition, we never had user downtimes or things like that. So the future is very bright. I believe 2025 is going to be an inflection point in terms of AI. It's being infused in a lot of the applications that we're already using. Some of the products that we're already using from Microsoft are already having something like Microsoft Copilot coming across all products. We have other products that we use that we are seeing a lot of AI coming in. So we see a lot of knowledge transfer and knowledge acquisition to all team members within the organization to be able to adapt to utilizing AI for efficiency in many ways. And beyond that, we would look at, of course, OT or IoT, acquisition of that data. Because with cloud, what we will be able to do, or what we expect to do, is to pivot on the sheer amount of data that we've been producing. Because statistically, there's been statistics that talk about the amount of data that has been generated in the last 2 years is more than the data that has been generated in the last 10 years. That would also be the same for our organization. We need to utilize that data. We need access to that data, because once you access it, especially using AI, it becomes information that you can easily query, you can easily inquire from, and be able to be more efficient and more effective. Yes.
Wow, thank you. That sounds really exciting.
It's very exciting.
And do you have any advice for anyone who's kind of considering, any organization that's considering that transition, why they should even begin? We know it's not an easy process.
I think the most important thing is that this has to be driven by a business need. More than anything, we in information technology want to play with toys and things like that. But the most important component of moving to the cloud is the business. You need to first analyze: does your business require, or is your business pivoted towards that? The products that you use, the posture that you intend to, the strategy for the next 5 years. Where do you want to be, and where are you at the moment? Where are you spending a lot more of your time in technology, and how are you spending that time? Are you spending it to add value, or are you spending it to troubleshoot, or to make sure that I would say the lights are on? So it would be a business imperative, and to sell it to business from IT perspective, it's elastic in cost, meaning that you expand or you use what you need to use at given times, especially with cloud computing. So for me, it's a good buy for any organization that does not want to spend a lot of capex when setting up maybe branches and locations, and all they need is endpoints that they put in, but the access to that information is secured through the cloud. The cloud is more secure in my view. Because then you're able to respond much faster compared to on-prem, where you have to go back to the office if policies need to be rolled out. So for me, I would advise the person to start with the business case, making sure that the business understands the impact of moving to the cloud. I would encourage people to move to the cloud because it brings a lot of advantages, as just elaborated: elasticity, scalability, and also responses to any changes that you would want to do, and adoption to new technologies. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate this conversation.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.